Hello, BookTube. I thought I would do a little quick haul. What have I been gathering up for the last little bit since I've done, my last book haul, which I can't even remember how long ago that was. What should be like last week or something. But yeah, I have some books here. They're all Australian, so strap in for that. And the reason I'm getting all these Australian books is because I decided, like a couple days ago, it's been a lot emotionally and physically, more emotionally than anything else. Because you see, all this behind me used to be classics, but I moved them, and now this is going to be my Australian shelf, Australia shelf, if you would. And we got fiction, history, and some prime minister biographies at the bottom because why not? And they're very heavy too. And I thought, yeah, it's time to go through, get the books that I can only find physically, and just get the favorites, actually make a shelf of them. So they're going to be in order of pretty much the publication order, pretty much. I don't really know exactly. I know like the prime minister biographies and all that, and history books are going to be at the bottom just because they're heavier. But we'll see how we go. It again, it's still a work in progress. Like my room is an absolute tip right now because of the sheer amount of books I moved. But I am unholing at an insane level. No one can stop me. But I did get some books, so let's talk about them. So I got a prime minister biography first because I couldn't say no. All these like literally $2 each. This is Joseph Lyons, the People's Prime Minister by Anne Henderson. I've heard of Anne before, but here it is right here. I know barely anything about Joseph Lyons. I know he was Prime Minister literally for the entire 1930s, and he was the first, I think, prime minister to serve 3 consecutive terms. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is. And that's literally all I could tell you about Joseph Lyons. And I'll read this and I'll learn more about him. But yeah, so we have that. Then we have some Australian classics, and this is like a really cool edition I have. But I found a absolute brick of a book, and that is The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney. I have like the Penguin, old mass market paperback of it, but I couldn't turn down a lovely hardcover of it. It's very bit old, bit warped, but I love The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney. I will talk about it soon because when we revamp Ozbooks for the 20th century, get ready for that in the next couple of days because that's going to be an absolute wild ride that I'm only starting to get into now. I'm going to start, reread certain books and all that stuff. But yeah, we got finally a hardcover copy of The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney. I have mentioned this before in an Ozlit video. I think it's like the classic novels video, and it's lovely. It's not lovely. It's a miserable book about a man who, I believe, finds gold or in the gold rush, and his fortune doesn't go his way. Luck was not on his side, and he gets institutionalized. And the more I'm doing Oz books and all that stuff, and really thinking about it, the more I realize that I cannot name you a happy Australian book. Like all of them are the most miserable, sad, just slice of life books I've ever read. It's like Russia or something. Like it's on that same level of just like bleakness. I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, so we have The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney. I really should reread this, but it's this edition here is like 800 pages because it is a long book. It was like in different, like 3 different volumes, I believe. Yeah, 1917 was the first volume. Then 1925 was the second, and then 1929 was the last volume. And so yeah, I found The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney. I don't even know how many people know that book anymore. Then we have an absolute classic when it comes to historical fiction. That is The Only Wild Colonial Boys by Frank Clune. I have read this book. I think it was an abridged edition, but this is set, Australian Wild West and in the 1860s during the gold rush, and it's just full of men who were dodging taxes and squatting and breaking into stealing cattle and prison breaks and all that fun stuff. I always keep this book in the same like area in my mind as like Robbery Under Arms. Even though that book came out more closer to the time period than Wild Colonial Boys, because this came out in the I think, oh, when did it actually come out? Like I know I want to say like 1940s ish. I could be wrong. But yeah, I definitely have had an abridged edition of this book. And I did reread Robbery Under Arms. I had to after I done the Ozbook video about it, and it's so fun. I forgot how the name Captain Starlight, obviously the main bushranger. I'm like, that is the gayest name I've ever heard in my life. Like, imagine being like a manly man, roughing it in the bush, stealing, robbing people, all that stuff, and you're like Captain Starlight, because all I can think of is Starlight, Starbright. That's literally all I can think about when I read Robbery Under Arms. I'm like, oh my god. And it doesn't help that the main character's name is literally Dick. Like, that's not even a nickname, that's literally his name. And I was like, what's going on here? But I will see if this can hold up to Robbery Under Arms as historical fiction. But I remember really liking it at the time. But yeah, all I can think about is Captain Starlight. And then we have Power Without Glory. This is by Frank Hardy. This is, I think, considered one of the great like political fiction novels. It's kind of like I've heard the all the President's Men of Australia, pretty much. And I've read All the President's Men, and I really enjoyed it. And it's about this man who's John West, and he's working class in Melbourne, and then he gets his position of wealth and power, and he exposes the world of political corruption and underworld gambling and all that stuff. I've never read it because I've never found a copy of it until now, so I will. And then the last book I have here is an absolute classic, and that is A House is Built, of course, by M. Bernard Eldershaw, who I don't have any of their books, but this is an absolute classic. 1928, this was released, and I haven't read it in years. It's about James. He's like an ex-Navy soldier. And he starts a business in like Sydney in the 1830s, and he cripples the business, and it goes wrong, and it impoverishes his entire family, and it's really sad from what I remember, like every Australian book is, and we'll see how we go with a reread for this one. But that will be an Ozbooks video because it's just such a classic book. And yeah, that's just a quick little haul. Not the happiest haul when you look at all the books, but we'll add them to the shelves, and my shelves look very pretty. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching BookTube. Have you read any of these books? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.